Students. Today's class we will be learning about file systems. I'll be dealing with model 4 file systems, operating systems. So before moving on to what is the file concepts, we'll see what is file. Basically, file is a place where we store the data. There are different types of data. What are the different types of data we will see in the next coming slides. So basically, we can tell file is a large collection of data. So it is a logical storage unit. It can be collection of related data and unrelated data, means it can be a combination of n number of other things also, other data. It might be a text file, image file, video file, anything. Right? So that is what the second part what I've given there is. It is a collection of related information that is recorded on secondary storage. It represents two things. One is program and data. Programs have objects and source codes. All this in types. What are the types of data we can say is it is numeric, characters, binary, and programmed data. So to conclude the definition of file, file is a sequence of bits, bytes, lines, and records. So now we will see the structure. So before seeing the structure, we will see how many types of files are there. So you can see there are basically 4 types of files. One is text, source, object, and executable file. So text file, the word tells you it is a sequence of character files. Source files, it is all your source files. Object files, it is a sequence of bytes, and all executable files. So we have 4 different types of files. First one is text, second one is source, third one is object, and fourth one is executable file. So we have 2 kinds of structure. One is simple record structure and complex structures. The word gives the explanation there. It is simple structure which has lines, length, variable length. Complex structure is something which is a loaded file or formatted document which can be reloaded, everything. So who is the person who can decide which kind of structure the file is maintaining? So it can be done by operating system and the program user program, right? So before going on to the file operations, first we will see what are the file attributes, which is going to be very useful for us. The first file attribute is name. So name is kept only for human understanding. So file name is only for human understanding. The name what we have given in the system will not be understood by the machine level language. So machine level language to understand, so we should I have a identifier there. Identifier is a unique tag which identifies the file name inside the file system, that is in your computer system. So that is your second attribute, identifier. Third one, it tells you what is the type of the file, right? Which types, we will be seeing a number of types in the next slides, right? Whether it is an image type, it is a video type, or it might be a music type, right? Location, it specifies where the file is located. The location of the file will be known by this attribute. Then size tells us the current file size. Protection attribute is very important, which tells the user whether the user can do reading. It is all permission modes, whether it can do only reading or only writing or executing or all the 3. As we know, the command 666 777 indicates all the operation modes are on, right? Then the last and very important one is the time, date, and user identification. The time when it was created, the date when it was created, who was the user who has created the file. So all this information, all the file attributes will be kept in a directory, right? So now we'll be moving on to the next concept called as file operations. So the first thing what we should know, it is file is an abstract data type. So what is abstract data type? Abstract data type is a class or it is a type where it is defining a set of operations or set of methods is defined. So that is abstract data type. So we will move on to the operations there. So the first and basic operation of the file is creating a file. The second one is read and third one is write. So whether you have to read or write a file, first we have to create a file. So file first operation is create operation. The second one is read and write. So read or write, we should know one concept, that is pointer concept. Where is the current file position pointer? So which helps us to see where our position, where our cursor is there, where it is located. Then the fourth operation is reposition within the file. So it is basically, it is also known as file searching, where it can search for a file. Then the next operation, the word tells it is very clear, it is deleting a file. So for any file you have to delete, we can use that keyword delete. Truncate, very short what I can use it for. Truncate is shortening the file, right? You are reducing the file size, you are compressing it. Then two operations which is very important is open and close operations. Open operation is to search for the directory. Close is to move from one place to the other one. Then other operations are appending, renaming. So whether you have to append means you have to add any file, add any existing file, you have to rename any existing file, means the file has to be opened. So for that we need a system call which opens the file, that is open system call. Then all the files which is there, it will be stored in a table called as open file table. So all the information of the files will be stored there. Then what are the important operations or important methods which should be known to operate the files, right, or to manage the files? The first one is file pointer. So file pointer is the one which tells us where our last location was held, whether we have done the last read operation in which place or last write operation in which place. So that can be located by file pointer. Next one is a counter file, where file open count, how many number of times the file is open, that count will be stored. It is something kind of program counter. Then the location of the file, the information about the file can be seen through the next one, that is disk location. Access rights is the permission, that is mode permissions, whether you have to do read mode, write mode, or execute mode. Then once we have opened any file, we have to lock the files. If we have so many applications in our phone, we want some application to be locked, right? So we have an application in Google Store called as folder lock or app lock, right? The same way for every file which is opened in the file system or in your operating system, we can lock the file by using the method lock. The format is shared. The format is file lock, where it has three parameters: long begin, long end, and boolean share. Long begin means where is the location, the starting location of the file, from where it should start locking. The second one is ending of the file, where it should end the lock. Boolean shared has two values, one is shared and exclusive value. Shared means where all the consecutive values can be locked. It is something like one file is locked, then the second file will ask whether it should lock or not. Third one will ask whether it should lock or not. As we do in our application, that is in our phones, we install app lock. Whenever we install any new app, it will ask us, a notification will come whether you have to lock this file or not. That is Boolean share. What is exclusive? Exclusive is only for that particular begin and end. So whatever you have specified from begin to end, that is, for example, you have begin from first file to end to fifth file. So all the 1 to 5 is locked. It will not ask for sixth one. Then once we have locked the file, how do we release the file? Right? We have an operation called as, or a method called as release, which is help to release the file. So I'll take one example of a Java program, right, where I'll explain you the concept of shared locking and exclusive lock, right? So the things which is highlighted, only those things I'll be explaining, which is only important as of now for us. The first one is, how do we get the channel, right? So we get the channel, or we get the channel from the file, that is, we get the file from the system by using a command called as get channel, right? So the file should be given a permission for read mode and write mode. Only then we can access for locking it. So that is why the first line you can see, random access file RAF is equal to new random access file. We are generating a new random access file with the file name called as file.txt, which we are giving a permission for read write mode. So once we get the file from the channel by using raf.getChannel. Now I will divide the file into two parts. That is, file into the file name is only file. The text file name is file, F-I-L-E. So I have divided into two halves. That is 0 to half, then half to end. So the first one, what I am doing, I am locking the first half as exclusive lock. So you can see there, exclusive lock is equal to ch.log 0, raf.length by 2. So the half of the file is locked for exclusive, means all this will be locked. Next one, it will not worry, it will not ask you what you have to do. Then once I have done that, I can release it by exclusive lock.release command. Then the second half, what I am doing, I am using as shared. Shared means from the half. For example, think there are 10 pages in that file, 0 to 5, and keeping it as exclusive one, means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be locked as exclusive. Then sixth one will be locked. Seventh one, once it open, it will ask you whether it should lock. Eighth one, it is open, it will ask you for lock or not. So any file which is opened for lock or which is done by the lock, it can be released by release command. So that is what your locking and release method. So file types you can see in the slide, there are so many file types. So these are all extensions. JPJ, that is image, PSD, MP4 video player, image, HTML files, CSS files, all source code, executable codes, all video files, MP3 files, all files are there. But we know only the extension. How do we know the name and type and extension? So next slide, we will be seeing the type, name, extension in detail. So the first one, file types. On the left hand side, you can see the file types. The second column is the extension. The third one is what is the functionality of that. So one thing, very simple one, I'll take first one, text file. So if you're opening a notepad, you can save it as file name dot text. If you're opening a document, you can open as file name dot doc. So dot doc is the extension. File name is what is the name you give for the file. The same way, you can take it for executable code in all the set of files. So you can see all the set of files will have .exe. That is the application which is ready for installation or ready for execution. Object file .o.obj. Source codes you can see .c, .java, .a, .cc, so many. Batch files, word processors, library files, we have seen so many .h, .lib, .in, so many library files are there. Then very important, print or view. So we can see a file for editable one or only for readable one. Readable PDF, it is only for readable. Document, it can be read and it can be write. Archive. Archive is where you zip a file or RAR a file. Where, for example, when you talk about Gmail, there is only limited space to send a file. Only 25 MB can be shared. More than that, what we'll do, we'll zip the file. That is zipping. Multimedia, all the multimedia files. Then, any operating system, the structure consists of two parts. One is resource fork and data fork. Resource fork is a place of the interest of the user. Means resource fork is a place where the information is related to user only. Data fork, it is the information, it contains information only about the program code or data. Now, very important concept we have to talk about internal fragmentation. What is this internal fragmentation? Right? Internal fragmentation. Now there is 1 GB of data and we have 200 GB of subint files. So what I can do, think there is 1 GB, right, or 1.1 GB storage, right, and I have 200 MB file. So 100 I can do, that is 1 GB I can do. The sixth file, right, sixth file which is of 200 can't be stored in 100 GB because the file size is less, right, the storage file, right. So now see, example, very basic example what I can give you is, there is a C drive which has 10 GB, okay. So there are files which is of 1.5 GB space, right. There are 10 files. So only 10 GB is there, 1.5 GB files are there, 10 files are there. So after creating 7 to 8, after it done, right. So 9.5 it is done, right. So remaining 500 MB of data is waste. We can't store 1.5 GB in 500 MB. So more the block size, more the fragmentation, means more space we are wasting there. Next concept is how do we access? So so far we have seen how do we open a file, or what are the operations there, what are the structures, what are the types of the file. So now how do we access a file? The first method is sequential, the second method is direct one. So sequential, it is very clear, one by one. So for example, you have to read the fifth line, you have to go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. How do we do that? By using the command read next, write next. So you can't go randomly in this. So that is a disadvantage of sequential access. You have to go back to the previous one. You have to come from the beginning. How can you do that? By resetting the operation. Reset means it begins from the beginning. So one condition is there. We can't read after the last write. After last write operation, we can't read it because there is nothing to read. So there is some disadvantage in sequential access. So we can't go randomly. That is why we have the next operation called as direct access, where we can go to the location of that. So that is what read n position, write n position. We can go to any position. it has an advantage of sequential one also. Sequential one is what, one by one we were going, right? It overcome the disadvantage or overcome the disadvantage of sequential, and it uses sequential one concept also. So you can see that, right? So sequential one thing, we are in a current position. The current position is 5th one. So you have to go for the next one, 6th one, read 6, read 7, read 8, read 9. So it will go until end. You have to go to the previous one, we have to reset, that is rewind. We have to go to the beginning. So that is the first method, sequential. The differences between sequential and direct access methods is given in the picture, where read next will become read 1 or read 2, read operation. Write next will become write CP, write operation. Reset is something like beginning, which we initialize to 0 there. Next, the next accessing method is index and relative file. How do we access this file? For this, I'll take an example of one textbook or one PDF, right? Where we will see chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 4, like that, 5, right? So we have to access chapter 4. What we can do, we can click on that. So it is indexed file. So in the figure, you can see Smith is one which I have to access. So there will be everything, there will be a record number which will be there. So that once we click on that index file, it will take us to that relative file. That is where the file is stored. That is example of index and relative file. So that ends today's concept. Thank you all.